and I want to introduce my special guest. So first of all, I want to introduce the segment 15 Minutes of Love. For those of you who have not been here before, I'm Ilona Pamplona. I am a self-compassion and clarity coach, and I created this group to contribute to a more positive, love-based conversation than all of the fear that's happening in the world at this moment. And I get so excited to say that, oh my gosh, I know people who are contributing to the frequency of love in so many different ways. So Crystal, thank you for being here. I would love if you could introduce yourself and the work that you do.
Okay, thank you very much, Ilona. My name is Crystal Clenney, everybody, and the work that I do in the world is called Intuitive Human. And we are normalizing intuitive experiences for humanity by excavating stories of highly impactful, view-shifting, intuitive, and oftentimes like spiritual awakening kind of experiences through interviews and creating a body of research using those stories and that information.
Awesome. Okay, and so I love that this is a topic that you work with. And so, keeping in mind all that you do, how would you define love?
The definition of love for me has been interesting because I've struggled in my life with feeling loved growing up in a household with abuse and things like that. And so I've actually been so thankful and so blessed to have direct contact through my own intuitive experiences. That is a birthing into the work that I do in the world. And it's really like the universal and the creation life force to me.
Yes.
It's like the thread that really underlies the purity of existence. It's the thing to me that like everything knows innately already without a struggle, without an effort. It's unefforted. And so for me, in these moments of contact with divinity or purity or the thing that is the love that holds everything together, for me, that's what love is. It's unending breath, life force breath, universal breath.
Oh my goodness. And I love that you said that, because for those of you know me on Instagram, I have a campaign called Spellings where I help people understand the spirit of words. And inspiration comes from Latin, inspiritus, which means the breath of God.
There you go.
So it's so interesting how that all comes together. Like, I have these moments where people will say something, I'm like, words impact our experience of this too, right? Like there's such a powerful, like, I think, it's funny because you're doing the academic framework for intuition, and I feel like I've inadvertently begun like an academic research on at least the understanding for what love could be. And so there is this connection to something bigger than us, and understanding that whatever is bigger than us is also not the way we understand it in the 3D, and that it is something that is far more than the figure of a man in the sky. You know what I mean? And so,
or even like coming from somebody else, another limited being who's on this planet, or a tree, or you get closer. I feel like I've gotten closer in contact with love, with nature, and things of that realm or that kingdom. But other people, for me, it's not about what I can get or anything like that from other people. It's about really, really finding that through like awakened awareness practices and meeting my own self, the truest parts of myself in the depths of myself, to be able to recognize that thread.
Well, it's so interesting that you say that too, because one commonality that several past guests have said is, or like something that we've come to the conclusion of, is love is something that the awareness has to start within us in order for us to then bring it out and share it with the world or experience it in the world. Like there's an internal process and an external process. There's a 3D experience, there's a 5D experience.
Right.
So like I think at one point you said all encompassing. So I think
and I like the word like topographers. Like I feel like we are the topographers of our own internal maps, and when we meet that true contact, then other people can, vibe off of us and know that we've been in actual real contact with that level of ourselves. So I feel like we definitely are our own topographers, and really traversing that internal map is critical.
Wow, I love that. All right. So now that we have your definition of love, I
Yes.
would love for you to introduce your topic of the love letter.
Okay. So today we're going to take you guys into an interactive exercise that will, and maybe two if we have time. So we have two planned. And the first one is, we're calling it the love ladder, and it's also called the 7 levels deep, which is where we are going to ask the question why. And Miss Alona is going to be our subject of love and defining love, and deepen us into her relationship. So you guys, I want you guys to do this with yourselves and find your own answers as we go. And we'll demonstrate. I'll ask Ilona a question, and then I'll ask her another question. And go ahead and just ask those questions of yourself as we continue. So again, it's 7 whys, and you just start with the first subject. And you guys, the coolest thing about this is that you can use this and as a tool to get to the vulnerable aspects of anything, of why you want to buy that car, of are you going to have your money this month for whatever, of should I take that job, why am I even looking, of why do I feel nervous right now, of anything. So today we're using it to discover more about our relationship with love. So Ilona, we're going to go ahead and get started. And I'm going to ask you a question. And then whatever your answer is, I'm going to ask you why.
Okay.
I'm just going to say your answer again with why. And then we're going to do that multiple times.
Okay.
All right. So what does love mean to you?
Okay. So the first thing that comes up for me is love is the only thing that's real, and it is a frequency that ties us as spiritual beings in a physical realm.
Okay. Why is it the only thing that's real and the only thing that ties us to the spiritual realm? And pause for a second. Everybody else, also ask yourself, find your answer. We're all using the same base question, and then find your answer. And to that answer, just ask yourself a deeper level of why, and really listen for your answer. So for Ilona, why?
So why is it the only thing that's real? So my experience of why only love is real is because after all the self-work that I've done, I realized that the opposite of love is fear. And anything that I've feared in myself or in another person has actually turned out not to be real when I actually had the time to sit in the examination of why I feared it.
Okay, and so would it be more clear to say, why is there fear? Or would it be more clear for you to say, like, why does it depend on somebody else?
Why is there fear? Sounds right. Sounds intuitively like an interesting direction to go towards.
All right, let's go. So then why is there fear when you think about that?
Why is there fear? And just to clarify, why does fear exist as an opposition to love?
Yes, and in this case specifically.
So when I think about fear, I think about like all the unknowns. Like when I think about, well, for example, if I don't like someone, or I perceive that I don't like someone, or I perceive that someone doesn't like me, which is the opposite of like loving someone, the thing that separates me would be the fear. Like, will this person reject me? Will this person like me? Will this person understand me? And like all those rejections or experiences of separation is what I relate to fear. Then like taking it to like a different level, like I think about my own experiences. Like I fear not having money. I fear not getting to a certain place in life. I fear
the whole like circle of all the unknowns.
Yeah, like all the unknowns are what separate me from really just being like, oh, it even fear separates me from even loving what I love, because the fear is such a separate an experience that pulls me down. When I think about what I love, when I tap into fear, it feels like the very direct opposite.
Okay. And so if we just take all of that beautiful explanation and consolidate it down to unknowns, and we say, why is the unknown significant? And let's like, I'll do a little coaching too. We're both coaches and mentors here. A little coaching to say, and everybody else also to say, like, it's really like a sentence or two to be succinct, right? Because then we can go off on all these tangents and then kind of forget, like, oh, where's our ground, where's our
Love
root?
it.
So as we continue on, this is going to be our third why. Why is the unknown important?
Because knowing brings safety.
Good. That's it. Yeah. And then we go into safety. So why is safety important?
Because
And I'm taking notes.
yeah, okay, good. Safety is important because that's what we want in the physical realm.
And for you specifically, why is safety important?
For me, safety is important because that's a great question. When I think of safety, I think of the root chakra and I think of having enough, being enough.
Okay, cool. And I want to just kind of point to the difference, right? Already between the first, second, and third answer, and how it was like kind of, right? Kind of quick, fiery. Oh, I got this, I got this, I got this. Boom. And now we're at like the third why, and it's like,
More thinking.
oh, more feeling.
Mm.
It's like, oh, safety. Oh, me. Oh, physical thing. Oh, and you got to really like start excavating. Like we just hit, and my body's all got like goosebumps and stuff.
Got a drink, yeah.
And we just hit, and made contact. I don't want to say hit. We made contact with more vulnerable space, which is talking about enough. So did you say having enough?
Having and being.
Having and being. Why is having and being enough important?
Okay, let me think about this. Do I have time?
You got time. You got time. If this is all we do, it's fine.
What comes up for me is having and being enough is important because I believe we're here to do something, all of us, and having and being enough is like a source of being able to accomplish that. Being able to, like, if I have enough to take care of this and I am enough to take care of this will get done.
And then to get done, to basically like bring through who you are.
Yeah.
That's what
right.
you said.
It's like, you know what? It allows us to fully tap into our purpose on this earth without worry.
Okay. And this is the last one, you guys. Why is tapping into the purpose without worry important?
Because then we can accomplish what we're here for so much faster.
Tell us more about that.
So if we were able to tap into our purpose without worry, we would all be doing what we're supposed to do and doing it sooner in our lives than later, or because something else had to happen. Like we would, and the other thing that comes up for me is we'd be able to do what we're here to do on this earth with joy, because if it doesn't have worry, then we're tapping into joy, which is a frequency of love, which allows us to really ride.
So then let's recap. So I had to start taking notes, right? So basically, like, we started at what is love? Like, why is love important, right? And then we got into fear. And then we went into the unknowns. And then we found safety. And then we found being and having enough. And then we found purpose. And then for everybody, you guys, it's going to be different. Mm-hmm. For Ilona, we found for you that it helps you, or you get to do what you're here to do with joy. So the real answer is not fear for you. It's not unknown. It's not safety. It's not enough. It's not purpose. It's to do what you were placed on this earth to do, and with joy. So then if we circle back to the
Woo!
beginning and say like, why is love important for you? It's because, skip all that stuff. Bottom line, you came here to do what you do with joy.
Wow, that resonates with me so much. So much.
I'm so glad to hear that. So that is the 7 levels deep. And again, you guys, we can do that with anything. You can do it. Why should I go to sleep at 11 o'clock versus 3 o'clock in the morning? Like, it doesn't matter, like
Yeah,
literally
yeah.
anything. And yeah, so super powerful tool. You can use it with your friends. Honestly, I mean, we explained while we were going and stuff, but you can use it with your friends, and it takes like 2 or 3 minutes to go
Yeah.
through a whole ladder once you kind of go through it once, and it gets you connected. And that's what we're about, is the deeper connections, the more potency, and like, let's just like lift up those covers, get under that hood, and be real and be vulnerable with each other. And this is how you can do it in a very quick, succinct way.
Well, as long as the respondent is succinct, because I can be quite the chatter.
We got you good. We got you in line. It was all good.
So I love that because, one of my things is self-compassion and clarity coach. And one of the reasons why I fell in love with self-compassion was because we really beat ourselves up so much in our life path. And if we were just to cut ourselves some slack and really be nice to ourselves, we'd actually enjoy the ride. And I'm always like, at the end of the day, our souls are going to guide us towards our purpose and our mission. And we can either get there with joy, or we can get there like being miserable along the way. So that's why it's resonated with me so much, because I've said that before. Like, you're going to get to where you're going to get to anyway.
Right.
It might take you longer or shorter.
Right.
But what's known is you get to control. Are you going to enjoy the ride, or are you going to be miserable the entire time?
Yeah, and take like the thing I had to learn, you guys, was to take the path of least resistance. Take the path of least resistance. It's a much more enjoyable path for sure.
And we did get some comments. My friend Ilona, who also has the same name, not related, she's like, I'm obsessed. What a good reframe. Why is the unknown significant? So it definitely seems to be resonating to like really dig deep into, why do we think? So what I'm hearing, Crystal, is like this. You said we can use this in any place, in any way. And it really feels like such a great way to have yourselves, your friends, your family, clients to really start to do the work, especially if people aren't familiar with doing the work, right? Because there are a lot of people in this world who are not woke, and that's not a good or bad thing. It's just that they've not been exposed to this level of self-inquiry. And
Right.
This is such a really easy way to begin that experience. Like, I'm not going to ask you complicated questions. I'm just going to be like, why?
And it's like, what's coming to me with you talking about that is like, it's the toddler's path to self-discovery.
The toddler soul.
Right? Because they're like, why, everything, right? Because they're in this like new discovery moment. So
it's so funny that you say that. When I was young, actually like before my brother was born, so this is like before I was 3 years old, my mother would take us to Ecuador, where she's from, and my aunt had someone who would cook for her, and she used to call me La Niña Ipoque, because I'd always be like, Ipoque, which means why? Ipoque. So this was, I've been practicing this since apparently before 3 years old.
Excellent.
Probably why I'm a coach.
Awesome. I love that.
Well, I'm just going to check in to see if anyone has any questions. If you do have any questions, I'd love to hear your feedback and response on this love ladder, because it was I loved it. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to start using it with my clients when they're really, really stuck, because it's like so simple.
Yeah, I use it with mine.
And I really, really love this. So far we don't have any specific questions, but what I want to know, Crystal, is where can everyone find you, and what projects are you working on that they can plug into?
Okay, so you guys can find me at intuitivehuman.com. I have a Facebook page, Intuitive Human. I'm Intuitive Human everywhere. And Ilona has the shirts. Ilona has had intuitive experiences herself that she shared in our filming. in Miami in March. And so she is an intuitive human, and we're so excited to share that episode when it's ready for airing. But yes, you can find us on YouTube, on Instagram, and then on Facebook as well. And then the projects that we're working on is we're creating and developing curriculum for a pathway to integration. That is one of the primary undertakings at this moment, which is when you have a highly impactful intuitive experience that like completely destroys your existing belief systems and who you thought you were. On the other side of that experience, a lot of times it's really hard to find the tools to support you all the way through integration of that moment in your life. And so creating this pathway to integration is a mechanism, it's a tool that is a cycle that explains how it works, what to expect, how it might look to you. It could take a week, or it could take 20, 30, your whole lifetime in years. So the timeline is totally up to you, but we kind of, in this body of research that we're creating regarding intuitive experiences, we're including what are common experiences in this pathway and calling it a lot of different names. So whatever resonates with you, it's just like one page per step that you can use it as a tool to get through to integration and becoming whole again.
Amazing. And we did get a question. So the question is, when do you think it's time to stop asking why? When does it become too much?
I mean, truly, it becomes too much like you can stop when you don't have anything else to say. But if you're really paying attention, normally practice with friends, trusted friends and confidants, but you'll notice a shift. You'll notice them slow down around the third or the fourth why. And when they slow down, we're coming out of the mental field because it is like really fast, and the emotional body is a lot slower. So that's important to notice too. So you'll get the hang of it, if you practice and do this on some people, and have them be your subjects of exploration. And then also like how long could you go? You could go until you could stop. I mean, I actually felt like, Ilona, we could go a little deeper with you if you wanted. So try it out and see. But the reality is, like, once you practice it, then you will be able to get and direct that person to know like the real answers, because maybe they're just like, not really connecting with what they're saying. And then the coaching comes in to say, hey, let's like, tell me a little bit more about that. And then you find the frame within the reality of what they're saying, and then you focus on that piece and go down. I do have a gift, kind of like Ilona, but in a different way, to feel the words and the vibrations in an answer or in a story to say, aha, like that's the piece, let's go with that. So that'll be fun to discover your own gifts of word, language, and vibrational frequency awareness as well.
I hope that helps, Ilona. And I think like the framework is like 7 layers first, right? So the idea was like starting with 7, the
yes.
7 ladders, the 7 layers. So the first part is like at least going 7 layers deep, and if not, like until they have nothing else to say. So because I probably could have gone on for forever, because I love words and I love thinking and I love asking questions. So I could go on forever. So yeah, Crystal, I also invite you to come back into the recording, into the replay, and share all your links so that anyone who's watching or watching the replay can follow you.
Yeah.
I don't see any other questions for now, so I want to thank everyone for watching now and on the replay. This is I can't believe we're in week 5. This was such an amazing conversation. It just gets juicier and juicier. And until the next episode, guys, remember that only love is real. Thank you, and thank you, Crystal.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, Ilona.